All right, let's get started. We're going to switch over to the S&P 500 here first, but we will get to crude oil. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about gold and all the other products. But yeah, crude oil and gold are going to be something we'll talk about, as there's some interesting developments going on with those. But let's do the S&P 500 first. So today was a down day. Here's my thoughts. This is an interesting development right here. Okay, when I see this kind of activity, that's kind of like just the very first hint that just maybe we're going to get a decline here. Okay, it's not enough yet, but this little bounce right here was really weak. Okay, and we're just going to see what this does because it kind of reminds me of this right here. Okay, something like that. It's happening in a slightly different place, but that's okay. So we're going to wait to see. Does it do a little bouncy bounce like that and then fake and then up again? So that's kind of where we're at. We're right, if you notice, we're right at the zero line here. We're just sitting right on it. That's halfway between the positive 40 and the negative 40. So we really got to wait to see what's going to happen here. Momentum's still super positive, but it did cross over here back, about a week and a half ago. But it's crossed over up here in positive territory. This is looking like it's trying to get some legs underneath it to go south, if you will, to start getting a gap like that. See that? It's trying to, not as aggressively as this one, obviously, but it looks like it's trying to get some momentum going down. So there's a small hint here that we could see a decline. Now, yesterday was the cycle low here, so, it was like nothing here. It was like, this is a nothing burger. So not enough going on here yet to say the market's in any kind of decline phase. But a really small hint that it may begin. All right, we need a few more days in here to know for sure. All right, so let's take a look at the trade of the day. I put in here 56.69. There's a little something down here, guys, at about 57.25, but really the big one is going to be 56.69 area. This is the biggie. If it breaks below that, that's going to be meaningful. If it just comes down and kind of touches this spot here, whatever like that, and bouncy, that doesn't mean anything, right? This would be the first significant breakthrough on support, about 56.69 on the December futures, okay? So just kind of a number there for you to keep an eye on. All right, let's take a look at the trades or trade of the day, if there's any at all. We'll look at the 5-minute, the 15-minute, maybe even the 1 hour. Okay, let's turn on the Get Us Plus indicator. Remember, I say this all the time. Most people ignore it. You want to be looking at multiple time frames, 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour for your trade of the day. Okay, let's take a look. We're going to go all the way back to the beginning of the futures from last night. I'm trying to squeeze it all in here on the screen. Futures are still trading right now. It's not quite 4 o'clock. Okay, this is pretty good. Okay, this 5-minute chart we're looking at here, this is the beginning of last night right here about 5 o'clock Texas time, and right now we're trading over here. It's about 3:20, 3:25-ish. So there's another 35, 40 minutes left before futures close. Obviously, intraday trading's already closed. All right, so where are the trades? Are there any trades in here? You can look at the Get Us Plus indicator. There's something here, there's something here, there's something here. These are obviously last night, to about 10 o'clock last night. This one's about almost 2 o'clock. This one's about 5:45 in the morning. Okay, we've got one over here about 9:45. And we got one in the kind of the early part of the afternoon, about 12:30, whatever, 12:20, something like that. So how do you know which one to trade? Okay. Most of the people in the U.S., they're sleeping during all this. Sleeping, right? They're missing some good trades here, like this one right here, which was absolutely awesome. Happened at about 5:40 in the morning. That's a really good trade. We're going to talk about this trade. Let's talk about it. Why is this trade at 5:40 in the morning really good? So you want to be able to identify when there's good trading opportunities. I know I've had one or two members in the past or people on YouTube say, if I followed all these Get Us Plus indicators, I'd lose a bunch of money. Right, so don't trade them all. Right, you don't just arbitrarily trade something just because it's there. You have to take everything into consideration. Okay, so why would I pick this particular one right here to trade? There's a lot of reasons why. Okay, number one, this bounce was pretty weak. Yes, it got up to the top line here, but it didn't break through strong like that. It didn't break through strong like that. So it's there, but it's not super strong. Also, the other reason I trade this short, because we're talking about short side trade, is this is very flat. It's sitting right on the zero line for the momentum. It's not way up in here, and it's not way down here. Anytime you see flat momentum like that on the MACD, you can pretty much trade the SMI. It makes things easy. So as soon as this thing began to curl over, I don't have to worry too much about momentum right here, which, by the way, eventually went negative anyway. Okay, I can just trade just the SMI here. Super easy when you see it flat like that. And bam, it was a good trade. Okay, eventually made its way all the way down here to like 58.50. But even if you took it to 58.55, okay, you're looking at about 20 points. It's $1,000 on one contract. All right, so there's one trade. That's if you happen to be up in the morning, early pre-market, looking at stuff. All right, let's move forward. There's two other trades here that I see that are pretty decent. There's this one, 9:30 in the morning. Now 9 to 10 o'clock, very common for the market to pull back. Very common, happens a lot. In all honesty, this is not really a great trade. It's doable, but it's not a great trade. You could trade it, but the problem is momentum is very strong here. Okay, you could probably still take advantage of this, but momentum was very strong here, so you got to be a little cautious here. Momentum's going this way, SMI's going that way. Not exactly ideal. Okay, would I trade it? If I was aggressively trading, maybe. I probably wouldn't have touched this because this is just super strong. Guess what? This one over here is much better, 12.15. Why is it better? So you see, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. You should be asking yourself that question. As you look at this streaming charts here for the Giddus Plus, and you look at, and you're a member of my service, you should be asking, why is Giddus saying this one over here is not as good as this one over here? We'll put a 1 for yes and a 0 for no. Why are we trading this one and not this one? Aren't we just trading all Giddus Plus indicators? No, we're not. It's suggesting there's a trade, doesn't mean you have to take it. This one's better. Why is it better? Okay, it's important to understand why this is a better trade. You should really be asking yourself that question. If you don't know the answer, that's okay, but you need to get to the place where you do know the answer. And the reason why this is such a better trade is because momentum is stuck at the bottom line here on the short-term momentum SMI. That's extremely negative. You notice this bounce went nowhere. This bounce went nowhere. Now that bounce went somewhere, right? So did this one, and so did this one. But not in here. I mean, it didn't even get to the zero line. So you get the indicator, you get a red candlestick, boom, I'm trading halfway down that red candlestick right there. Because I know that the SMI is telling me there's a really good chance this is going to go down. And it did. So even if you got it from 58.70 down to about 58.60, another 10 points, that's $500. Okay, and eventually it went negative anyway. And look at this, negative momentum for the rest of the day. So any little bounce was rejected. And we're doing that. So that trade right there is good that way. This trade right there is good that way. You don't even need another Giddus Plus indicator. It's all negative. Look how negative it is. Okay, so that's the 5-minute chart. So there's two good trades on there from early in the morning and then kind of early afternoon. Let's look at the 15-minute chart because we're going to look at both. Okay, easy breezy, this trade. It should stand out. Like there's 3 of them here. 1, 2, 3. One of these should absolutely stand out more than all the rest. You should pause the video before I give you which one's the best trade. You should be able to figure out which one of these 3 is the best. Now, obviously we have the chart and you've got all this data that's moving this way, so it's easy to kind of pick what's going on. But you really should be using good fundamentals. Things that are repetitive, that you can do over and over and over. Okay, if you don't know which one, okay, now that you've hopefully paused the video and tried to pick the best one, I'm picking this one. Okay, and actually this one right here is not bad either. They're both actually pretty good. All right. So why are they both pretty good? Because look at momentum on the SMI. It's below the top line. And MACD, which is longer term momentum, is stuck at the 0 line. We just got done talking about that. Okay, this one over here is a little bit safer to trade. It's a little bit more predictable. If you really want like a whole lot of safety in your trade, that one's a little more predictable. Why? Because by the time you got to these other candlesticks over here, as you're waiting a little bit, you can see this started going down. Okay, and momentum started cracking, right? Momentum started to crack. It started to show weakness. This is all pre-market stuff, and it starts going negative. Boom, you're in the trade, somewhere in this area. Okay, and you grabbed about, let's call it 58.75-ish, down to, you may not be able to hold all the way to 50. Call it 55 so you get out in here. 20 points, $1,000. So take your pick. You could have got those trades out of the 5-minute chart. You could have been a little more patient, wait for things to develop on the 15-minute chart. Either one of those trades would have been fine. This second one's a little bit more reliable than the first one, but they're both good because the SMI didn't make its way to the top. Okay, so you're using the GITTAS Plus indicator, the SMI, the MACD collectively to make a decision. Sometimes you got to wait a few candlesticks past it, and you're looking at multiple time frames. You don't just stay on the 15-minute or the 5-minute. Look at both. Yeah, at some point, you have to make a decision. Yeah, and you want to be using really good metrics to help you make that decision. Let's look at the 1-hour chart, and then we'll go to the rest of the products. Okay, there's nothing really on the 1-hour chart that's going to tell you to make an intraday trade. You could think about a swing trade maybe here, but we're not talking about swing trades when we talk about the trade of the day. We're talking about intraday trades, okay? So there you go. Those are your trades of the day, the 5-minute, 15-minute chart. Hopefully you learned something. You got to hunker down. Stop trying to keep things too simple. If it's too simple, the market's not simple. Look at bare minimum, you should be looking at the 5-minute, the 15-minute chart and looking at all the indicators I just talked about on the streaming charts. If you don't have this set up in your own chart, set it up. I get it that you don't have the GITTAS Plus indicator because that's specific to my service, but you can do the SMI and the MACD, Stochastic Momentum Index, and the MACD should be available on your charting software. If it's not, you got the wrong charting software. Get something else. All right, let's go take a look at the rest of the products. I'm going to jump right over to crude oil and gold, and we'll swing back to the other ones. Crude oil. What are my thoughts here on the daily chart? I think crude oil is going to go below 65 bucks here. I think crude oil is in big trouble. It's negative territory. This went nowhere. We just got done talking about this on intraday charts. This is a daily chart. Same thing. It failed right here. It never even got to the top. This is going this way most likely. Okay. I don't think this is going to, even if it rebounds here a little bit, it's going to fail again. Probably. Okay. I think we're going to get into the low 60s on crude oil. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Tell you why I think that. Look at this weekly chart. Look at this. Nowheresville. Negative territory. Negative. Here is 65.25. I think we're going below that bottom of that candlestick, which is right about there. Okay, we're going to go below that. Most likely crude oil is going to get into the low 60s. I'm going to say 63, 64, whatever. Take your pick. Down in there. That's where I think crude oil is going to eventually head. Between now and December 1st. Okay, that's crude oil. Let's look at gold. Gold is on fire. Very positive momentum. Re-engaged over here last few days. I said last week, I think it was, I thought gold would get to 2,800. There we go. Gold got to 2,800 today. This is just so bullish. Look at this. This dippy-do didn't even get below the top line. Are you kidding me? Now, looking at the weekly chart, it is pretty elevated. This is very elevated here. Looking at 84. Okay, over here was 79. Over here was 85. So, yeah, crude oil on the weekly chart is very elevated. It could give some up. It may just simply because momentum is, so high right now. I'm trying to look at the monthly chart here. Let's see what we got. Yeah, 80 here. 77. Yeah, even on the monthly charts, very elevated. So there is a little bit of a risk here just from the perspective of momentum is really, really high. Okay. So crude oil, as you know, we're making our way past the halfway cycle on this monthly cycle. It goes all the way out to April 2026 here in the monthly chart. Yeah, this would not, we had a pause right here. I could see it going like this and then maybe failing late. Maybe somewhere out in like August of 2025. Okay. I honestly believe gold can get to 3,000. Especially if Scamala gets into the White House. And you know my thoughts on that. If Scamala gets into the White House, this is what conservatives have labeled her, Scamala. She's not going to be the president, guys. Yes, she'll be a figurehead. She'll be holding the office of presidency, but she's not going to be running the nation. Everybody knows that George and Alex Soros are financing all this crime wave across the United States. They're financing the massive illegal immigration. How do you think these people are coming across the border? He's pumping money all along from South America to Central America to up into Mexico. It's their money. Their NGOs, their nonprofits. The Soros old man and his son have committed so many felonies, and the DOJ continues to ignore these people. They're committing all kinds of crimes. And if you don't know what an NGO is, that's a non-government organization. It basically functions like a government, and they use the American tax dollars to do it. Okay, so they're using your own money to finance a whole lot of crime across the United States. From BLM to Antifa to buying off attorney generals and district attorneys to financing this massive illegal immigration invasion. I could go on and on and on. Sex trafficking, drug trafficking, firearms trafficking, human trafficking, women trafficking, which is prostitution. And I've said it before, you don't want to know what these people do with these children come across the border. Okay, I'm not going to put it into words in this video. Just fill in the blank. Yeah, it is that horrible. And it is happening. So, Scamala, if she takes the White House, which I don't think they'll be able to do it legitimately, but if they'll probably do everything they can to steal this election. If she gets back in the White House, I don't know if she does or she doesn't. We'll see what happens here in the next few days. Gold will go to 3,000. If she gets into the White House, forget about it. It's going to 3,000. Okay, so that's why I'm mentioning that, right? Gold is very sensitive to political environment and to monetary stuff going on. The United States is $35+ trillion in debt. You don't think the Scamala and the Soros people and the other Marxist leftists are going to give a crap about the national debt, do you? I mean, even Trump and the rhinos and the Republicans haven't talked about national debt. Nobody wants to talk about it. Okay, but it's going to be a million times worse with the leftists in the White House. If that happens, gold's going to 3,000. If Trump gets in the White House, gold could cool off for a little bit, but eventually it's going to go to 3,000. Just might take longer. All right, so that's my projection on gold. Yes, it has a lot to do with the political environment. Okay, so let's go. We're going to go back to the daily chart. My take on gold is it's pretty hot right now. It may pull back. The next week or two a month is going to be kind of a big tell for gold. I think 3,000 is in the future for gold. One way or the other, it just might be real fast if the lefts stay in the White House, or slower if the conservatives get into the White House. Okay, let's go back. We're going to go back to Dow Jones Transportation. And I'm going to finish up this video pretty quick. I may not go through all the products here. But anyways, that looks pretty hot. Continue to go up. Russell 2000. I'm going to bang through these really fast here. Trying to get a bounce, not going anywhere. Okay, the NASDAQ. Still pretty aggressive here. Flatlining though. So that's still bullish, but flatlining. Let's look at the Japanese market. Yeah, kind of bullish, but looks like a weak. It's a kind of a weak run. So I don't think it's going to hold up. Japanese yen. Trying to find a bottom, hasn't found it yet. Getting crushed. 6E, the euro dollar futures. It is bouncing. Looks like it may have found a low here. A lot of work though to go positive. I think it's going to get up here and fail again. So temporarily, I wouldn't trade it long. It's too risky yet. British pound. Struggling to find a bottom. It looks like that's going to go even further south. It's going to do bing bong. Okay. Let's look at silver real quick. Strong. But it's probably going to pull back here a little bit. Looks like it wants to try to pull back. But for the moment, still bullish. We looked at gold. We looked at crude oil. I'm looking at corn. I'm not going to catch everything today, guys. We're just going to hit the big products. Corn looks like it's struggling. I think it's going to go negative momentum. This is going to go this. This is going to go south. Corn is going to go negative momentum. Okay, let's finish up with XLP. Boy, getting crushed. I said it's going to go more negative the other day. It is. This is horrible. Not good. I wait for a little bounce. Short it again off of this. That's it. Become a member. $7.99 a month. You get the S&P 500 and gold streaming charts, 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour with the cycles on a 1 hour chart. You get the nightly email 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, with the 5 different charts attached to that email. There's also alerts on the Discord server. Just right click on the product you want alerts for, S&P 500 or gold, turn notifications on, you get alerts. That is it. Talk to you all real soon again next time.